Welcome to Savour the Journey. Today we're in Buxton, a picturesque spa town in the heart of the Peak District,
where history flows as freely as its world-famous water.
So join me on this windy day as I explore its beauty, rich history and fantastic eateries.
I'm starting my journey here at the Slopes, a peaceful garden space with a stunning view of the town below. Right behind me is the War Memorial, a solemn yet beautiful reminder of history, standing tall among the trees. From here it's just a short walk to the bustling High Street, where we'll explore some of Buxton's local charm and independent shops. Then I'll make my way down some steps to the Crescent, one of Buxton's crown jewels. This stunning Georgian masterpiece was once a spa retreat for the elite and now houses a visitor centre where we'll dive into the fascinating history of Buxton's thermal waters. For lunch, I'll head over to the Old Hall Hotel, famed for its links to Mary, Queen of Scots, and their delicious Sunday roast, a treat I can't wait to savour. Afterwards, I'll take a leisurely stroll through the Pavilion Gardens, a gorgeous blend of Victorian design and natural beauty. It's the perfect spot to soak up the atmosphere and maybe spot a few ducks on the lake. And to round off the day, we'll head off to the charming pubs near the Market Square for a well-deserved pint, soaking up the warm, welcoming vibe this town is known for. It's shaping up to be an amazing day, so let's get started. Here we are at the Crescent, Buxton's architectural masterpiece and a true symbol of the town's spa heritage. Built in the 18th century by the 5th Duke of Devonshire, this grand crescent-shaped building was designed to rival the famous Royal Crescent in Bath. It's a stunning blend of Georgian elegance and innovation, with its graceful curves and rows of sandstone arches that make it impossible not to stop and admire. Back in its heyday, the Crescent was the place to be for aristocrats and socialites, dawned here by the promise of Buxton's restorative thermal waters. Its baths were renowned for its healing properties, and people travelled from far and wide to take the waters in this very spot. The building itself has seen some incredible transformations over the centuries, and today it stands as a mix of luxury hotel, spa and heritage centre, breathing new life into this historic landmark. Just behind me you can see St Anne's Wall, a natural spring that's been flowing for thousands of years and still provides visitors with free Buxton water straight from the source. It's the same water you'll find in bottles sold all across Britain, but here you can fill your own bottle and enjoy it fresh. Now I'm about to step inside the visitor centre to uncover more about the fascinating history of this iconic site. Let's see what stories this place has to tell. Stepping into the visitor centre here at the Crescent is like stepping back in time. This space is dedicated to uncovering Buxton's rich history, from its ancient beginnings as a Roman spa town to its golden age in the Georgian era and beyond. One of the first things you'll notice is how interactive the exhibits are, perfect for immersing yourself in the town's fascinating story. There are many gifts on offer, including cheese, wine, candles and other paraphernalia, so why not grab yourself something? The centrepiece here is Buxton's thermal spring water, which has been bubbling up from the earth for thousands of years. You can even learn about the science behind it and how rainfall filters through the limestone for decades before re-emerging enriched with minerals. There's also a section dedicated to the Romans, who called Buxton Aquae Anamareti, or the waters of the goddess of the grove. They were among the first to recognise the healing powers of these springs, and the centre has recreated what it might have been like to bathe in those ancient waters. As you move through the exhibits, you'll discover how the Crescent came to be. Built in the 18th century, it was part of the Duke of Devonshire's grand vision to turn Buxton into a fashionable spa town. You'll see original artefacts, old photos, and even hear stories of the high society visitors who came to take the waters. And speaking of the waters, I couldn't leave without trying some for myself. It's cool, fresh, and has that distinct mineral taste. Not bad for something that's been filtering underground for decades.
It's not just history, it's refreshing too. Romans believed it could heal the body and soul. Who am I to argue? That's the actual well behind me, and many people all day bring bottles and fill all their bottles up of fresh Buxton water. It's endless supply, really.
A short walk away from the Crescent is the High Street. Buxton's High Street is where history meets the hustle and bustle of everyday life. Lined with charming stone buildings and a mix of shops, it's the heart of the town. Here you'll find everything from quirky independent boutiques to cosy cafes, alongside a sprinkling of well-known high street names. As I stroll along, there's a real sense of community here. Locals chatting outside of the bakery, shopkeepers arranging festive displays in their windows, and the enticing smell of fresh pastries wafting through the air. It's the kind of place where you feel right at home, whether you're here to shop, grab a coffee, or soak in the atmosphere. Beyond the shopping, the High Street is also a reminder of Buxton's rich heritage. Many of the buildings have stood here for centuries, and if you look up, you'll notice the details. The elegant stonework, the old signage, and the way the architecture reflects the town's Georgian and Victorian past. This isn't just a street, it's a snapshot of Buxton's character. And today it's even more magical because there's a brass band playing Christmas music nearby. The familiar carols fill the air, adding a touch of festive cheer to the scene. And it's not hard to stop and take it all in, a moment that captures the spirit of the season perfectly. Buxton's High Street is also the home of a variety of local eateries, where you can tuck into hearty, traditional British food. And if that's a bit rustic and old-fashioned for you can always grab yourself a pizza. I'm starting to feel a bit peckish, so it's the perfect time to head to the Old Hall Hotel. Known as England's oldest hotel, it's not just steeped in history, but also serves an amazing Sunday roast. I can already picture the tender beef, crispy roast potatoes and rich gravy.
The Queen Mary of Scots actually had her own room in here.
So, let's go check it out. Stepping into the Old Hall Hotel feels like walking through history. This isn't just any hotel, it's known as the oldest in England, with roots going back to the 16th century. Its story is woven into Buxton's past, once serving as a lodging house for Mary, Queen of Scots, or Mary, Princess of Scots as she called herself back then, when she came here to take the famous waters during her captivity. The entrance itself is full of charm and character. The polished wooden floors and stone archways give it a timeless elegance, while the soft lighting and cosy decor make it feel incredibly welcoming. Portraits and artifacts line the walls, each hinting at the centuries of stories this building holds. There's a warm hum of conversation coming from the dining room, and a faint clink of glasses from the bar, giving it a lively yet intimate atmosphere. It's a place where the past and present come together beautifully, perfect for relaxing and indulging in a proper Sunday roast. I can't wait to see what's waiting inside. The main restaurant was closed for a private function, so I headed into the bar instead, and I have to say, I was amazed at how cosy it felt. It was like stepping back into my grandma's front room, with comfy chairs, warm lighting, and a welcoming vibe. I settled into a snug little corner and made my way to the bar. Fingers crossed they were serving the Sunday roast I'd been looking forward to all day. I arrived at the bar and was greeted by Alistair, a very friendly barman dressed to the nines with a full three-piece suit, fob watch and all. Turns out Alistair's one of the managers here, and he was more than happy to chat. I was delighted to hear they were serving the Sunday roasts, along with their usual menu. But just to satisfy my curiosity, I decided to take a look at the menu anyway. Always good to see what else they've got to offer. It was too early for an alcoholic beverage for me, so I ordered some sparkling water, and I was surprised that this was complimentary. Alistair wasn't sure whether I wanted lemon or lime with it, so he gave me a glass of each. Now that's what I call service. My starter has arrived. I couldn't be more excited. I went for the soup of the day, which turned out to be a mixed vegetable soup. It's one of those dishes that feels so simple, but packed with flavour. The soup itself was rich and hearty, with a perfect balance of vegetables. You could really taste the freshness. On top there was a generous handful of rocket and a drizzle of olive oil, adding a lovely peppery taste and a smooth richness that complemented the soup perfectly. It came with a side of lightly toasted bread and fresh butter, just the way I like it. The bread was also perfectly crispy, and the butter melted right in. A simple yet satisfying combo. All in all, the starter was just lovely, comforting, full of flavour, and perfect for a winter's day like today. I'm definitely looking forward to the main course now. Soup done. That was amazing. Quick sip at my sparkling water, and I'll be ready for my main. My main course has just arrived, and let me tell you, it looks absolutely delicious. I ordered the roast beef, and it came perfectly plated. A generous portion of juicy tender beef sitting alongside a massive Yorkshire pudding, all nestled on a bed of mixed vegetables and golden roast potatoes. And of course, it came with a gravy boat on the side. Alistair, ever the attentive host, was kind enough to pour some gravy directly into my Yorkshire, which was a nice touch. Then I was offered English mustard or horseradish sauce. I went for the mustard, and I have to say, it was the proper stuff, the kind that really packs a punch. It hit me right in the nose, just the way I like it. Now the beef, it was cut to perfection, so tender and juicy. Every slice melted in my mouth. You could tell it had been cut with care, and it was just the right level of doneness, with a slight pink in the middle. The vegetables were well seasoned and fresh, and the roasties, crispy on the outside, soft in the middle. Absolutely spot on. Altogether, it was a roast dinner that hit me in all the right notes. Hearty, comforting, and full of flavour. Honestly, I could eat this every Sunday. Now I know I said I wasn't going to have an alcoholic beverage, but why not? It's a Sunday roast after all, and a red goes perfectly with beef. I can't remember the name of the grape, but this was an Italian red wine, and it was beautiful. Fruity, light, all round perfectly complemented my meal. Next up was dessert, but to be honest, after that incredible roast I was starting to feel like I might burst, so I decided to skip the sweet stuff and go for a coffee instead. I asked Alistair what he'd recommend, and he suggested his famous latte. Let me tell you, it was smooth and creamy. Just the right balance of rich coffee and frothy milk. The perfect way to round off the meal. After paying my bill, I was about to head out when Alistair kindly offered a brief tour of the hotel. Turns out he's not just a barman, he's a bit of a historian too. He shared some fascinating stories about the hotel's history and the role it's played over the centuries. It was a lovely way to finish my visit, learning more about this incredible building. I'm definitely going to come here again, and I'm going to stay over too.
So, the Old Hall Hotel. Alistair, who served me, lovely man, very, very friendly. He's a historian as well, so he gave me a tour after my lunch. And what a lunch it was, really nice. Roast beef, Sunday roast there. The nice Italian wine, soup to start, a vegetable soup. Finished off with a coffee. I was going to have a dessert, but I think I might burst if I have a dessert. Anyway, we're not far from the park, so let's go and have a look.
Entering the Pavilion Gardens, you're instantly surrounded by beauty and tranquility. The well-kept lawns, vibrant flower beds, waterfalls and lakes create a beautiful atmosphere. As I ventured further into the gardens, I was greeted by an inquisitive goose, who seemed quite curious about my presence. I hope he doesn't peck me in the knee. Soon enough, a few of his friends waddled over, and I found myself surrounded by a small flock. It definitely added a bit of character to the peaceful surroundings. These geese certainly know how to make an entrance. As if the beautiful gardens weren't enough, they even have a miniature train that runs along the track, winding through the park. It's a charming little ride that gives you a unique way to see the gardens, a fun and peaceful way to take it all in.
You'll get peace and tranquility in this park, not because it's quiet, because all you can hear is the geese, the ducks, the other birds, the waterfalls. It's loud, but it's still peaceful and it's still tranquil. You may have noticed in the footage there of Pavilion Park, there's a big dome structure. Well, that, as the park's namesake implies, is the Pavilion. And we're going to go and have a look at it now. This pavilion has a ice cream parlour. There's ice cream made from local farms. Let's go and give it a go.
Unfortunately, the ice cream parlour was closed today, so I headed inside for a coffee instead. Inside the pavilion you'll find a number of small stalls, including the Buxton brewery store, where you can buy locally brewed beer. There's all different kinds of beer here. But I don't need any beer today, so I'm going to grab a coffee from the local cafe.
Even though it's mid-December, it's not too cold. I'm just going to enjoy a nice Americano with a drop of milk and sit outside with it. By the way, this coffee comes from the local cafe in the pavilion. There's a Buxton brewery shop in there as well. There's an art shop, and I believe that dome building over there behind me, in the summer, I'm not sure if it's all year round, it has a massive sort of kids play area, bouncy castle, bouncy slides and all the rest of it. God, I tell you what, if I was a kid, I'd love to have gone there.
One of the highlights of the Pavilion Gardens is the Conservatory. This beautiful restored Victorian glasshouse is home to a variety of plants, from tropical palms to vibrant flowers. The bright airy space offers a peaceful retreat, with natural light streaming through the glass walls. It's a perfect spot to escape the bustle of the park and immerse yourself in the serenity of lush greenery. Whether you're a plant enthusiast or just looking for a quiet moment, the Conservatory is a must-see in Buxton. Another standout in Buxton is the stunning Opera House. This grand building, dating back to 1903, is a real architectural treasure, with its ornate facade and beautiful interior. It's one of the best preserved Edwardian theatres in Britain, and hosts a variety of performances throughout the year, from opera to comedy and everything in between. The atmosphere inside is just magical, the perfect setting to enjoy a night out, whether you're here for a show or just admiring the architecture. The Opera House is a true gem of Buxton's cultural scene. Now heading away from the Opera House, I'm walking through these lovely cloisters, which are scattered all throughout the town centre. They add such a charming historical feel to Buxton, and they're the perfect way to wander between spots. Next stop, a couple of pubs, where I hope to enjoy a local vibe and perhaps a pint or two. But first, let's visit the William Cavendish statue. He's the 7th Duke of Devonshire, a key figure in the town's development. Erected in the late 19th century, the statue stands proudly in the town centre, highlighting his contributions, particularly his role in transforming Buxton into a fashionable spa town. It's worth noting that the Duke's vision of the town included the creation of the Pavilion Gardens, which we've just visited, and the restoration of the Crescent, making the statue a fitting tribute to his long-lasting legacy.
It really is a full-size one.
Right, enough stalling, let's grab a pint. Just behind the Crescent you'll find a handful of pubs that really capture the heart of Buxton's social scene. These historic spots are full of character, offering a cosy atmosphere and a warm welcome. Whether you're just after a quick pint or a lively evening, there's something for everyone. These pubs are a perfect place to relax after a day's exploring, with many serving up local ales and hearty pub food. It's a great way to experience local cuisine and unwind. But some of these pubs are closed today, might be because it's a Sunday, so I'm going to head back to the market.
Oh, what a long day it's been. Well, I'm heading up back to the market now, and there's some nice pubs around there, so why not? Just standing here in the market square, which is a car park unless it's a market. There's loads of pubs. You've got a pub over there, the New Inn. You've got the King's Head over there, which is a Marston's pub, just over there, sorry. And as you go towards down there, there's at least another 5 or 6. I counted them once, found about 12 or 13. So if you like your pub, Buxton is definitely worth a visit.
I settled for the King's Head. I've not been in here before, and I'm always keen to try something new. It sports a pool table and sport. The bar is warm and vibrant, and the decor is nice and quirky. Well, that wraps up my trip to Buxton. It's been an incredible day exploring the history, the charm, and of course the food. And what better way to finish with a well-earned pint? If you've enjoyed savouring the journey with me, consider giving the video a like. And if you want to see more, why not subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss the next adventure. Cheers! Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.